together, all to myself alone.
And that was Bette Midler with On a Slow Boat to China, what I would bet Donald Sterling wants to be on right now. And why I played that song is she actually had some funny tweets about the whole thing. One of the few that actually tried to not I won't say make light of the situation, but just show a little bit of humor and some yeah, let me just get to the comment she made. So she said, "So Donald Sterling's girlfriend sounds like the most reasonable and intelligent person in this whole sorry mess. Except honestly, who tapes their phone calls? It looks like a bit of a setup. Was his phone hacked like Rupert Murdoch's people did in the UK?" so yeah, see, she respects that he did wrong and that it wasn't a good thing, but she goes on to say, "Yeah, it's weird. I'm so disappointed to hear that Donald Sterling is a disgusting racist. He was always my favorite California raisin." and then he said, and then she said, "One of the most shocking things in this whole Donald Sterling controversy is that a man that old knows what Instagram is." And that's very true, because I was thinking to myself, what do people expect from an $80 billionaire that's living in Beverly Hills? Do they expect him to be in touch with the real world and in touch with today's society? Like, people are trying to say that, blowing it completely out of proportion, I think. Everybody's saying that racism is still alive and still strong. And I definitely believe racism is still alive for sure, but it's nothing to be the headline news for days and days and days. It's one man, it's an older man, a completely different generation, in the 1% bracket of America anyway, or the whole world. And he shouldn't be. And she also made another comment. She goes, "Donald Sterling's racist remarks, what he's been saying for years. I think he should be stripped of his championship rings, all 0 of them." So, I mean, the Clippers, he bought them for, I think it was $71 million, and now they're worth over $500 million. So, by selling it, there has to be a vote, and 75% of the owners have to vote that he is out, and then he'll have to sell it. But again, he's going to make tons of profit. He can go to China if he wants to on a slow boat, and he'll be fine. He won't. He'll just not have any more responsibilities. I mean, he's gonna have to live with knowing that his girlfriend basically blackmailed him. He's gonna have to live with all the people saying he's a racist and people hating him. But I mean, he's still gonna be sitting in a $1 billion house, driving $1 million cars. So I mean, like people said, hit him where it hurts, his wallet. I mean, you can hit him in his wallet, but he's barely gonna feel it. Is my interpretation. Another interesting side story is that he was gonna get the Lifetime Achievement Award from the NAACP because he'd always been a great contributor to small minority funds and all that stuff. And they actually announced Tuesday, the NAACP, that it would have its chapters review the criteria for how the honors were given, because basically they were just going to give it because he gave so much money. And they went on to say, we will be developing guidelines for our units to help them in their award selection process and prevent unfortunate decisions like this from occurring in the future. Basically saying, this guy can give all the money he wants, but if he doesn't believe in the cause, why are we giving him the publicity that makes it seem like he is? And I completely agree with that. I mean, he could throw out $1 million and he wouldn't even believe it, or wouldn't even feel it. So this was but what the worst part about this is, for me as a sports fan, is it's really taken away the last couple of days of the actual game of basketball. The Clippers, the teams talking about not playing because obviously everything they make is going into his pocket. Fans saying, I'm not gonna go watch the game. Magic Johnson. He actually talked about Magic Johnson. I'll play this clip for you. See what you think.
Sorry, that's your mess.
Yeah, the worst mouth.
Why are you so angry, honey? What's wrong?
Well, why would you bring up Larry Bird? What has he got to do with it? You can walk all night long with your sisters or your family.
I saw someone I admire Magic Johnson.
Okay, good.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
He's made a lot of changes for his community, for the world, for the people, for the minorities. He's helped a lot of people.
Why are you forcing this down my throat? I'm finished talking to you. I have nothing more to say.
And I took a picture with someone I admire.
Good.
And he happens to be black, and I'm sorry.
I think it's nice that you admire him. I know him well, and he should be admired. And I'm just saying that it's too bad you can't admire him privately. And during your entire life, your whole life, admired him. Bring him here, feed him, him. I don't care. You can do anything. But don't put him on this event for the world has to see, so they have to call me. And don't bring him into my games, okay?
So that was him talking about her talking about how she idolizes Magic Johnson. And like he said, she was shoving it down his throat at that point. She was saying, why does it matter, yada, yada, yada. And he's saying he admires him too. He's saying just don't make it public, which is obviously bad. But you can tell he's not a complete and utter racist like a KKK, like an ultimate radical. He just doesn't want his girlfriend to associate with them, which is wrong. For sure it's wrong. But to strip the guy of his ownership of the team and to fine him $2.5 million, the maximum amount. This is the worst thing anybody's ever done in the NBA. This is basically saying. I don't know if I agree with that, but again, what did he say? The funniest part to me was he goes, you can I'll keep it PG, you can sleep with Magic Johnson if you want to. So he basically told his girlfriend to go sleep with a guy who has AIDS. So I don't know, the whole thing, he contradicted himself a bunch of times, saying a whole bunch of things. Really confusing. Like I said before, a big cluster. He gives to the NAACP, but he's a racist. He loves Magic Johnson, but he doesn't want his girlfriend publicizing it. He owns the Clippers, an NBA team, which is obviously a predominantly black league. I mean, it's all a cluster. It's coming to an end, I'd assume now with him. I mean, he might file a lawsuit against the NBA. I don't know. I'm sure it will spark protest if he does. Maybe he'll go quietly, but either way, he's done as owner, and the Clippers still had to play. And a funny thing was the Warriors were ready to basically boycott the game. They were going to warm up, and they were going to leave, warm up, and then just leave the floor, all 15 of their guys. The Clippers always planned on playing. Here's actually Doc Rivers talking about how his team wasn't going to be distracted.
Have a job to do for the players. I have to get them to do their jobs, and it's going to be a hard job, and I get that. You know, they're going to get hit all night. This is a distraction, and so my job is to try to lead them the best way that I know how, and the best way I know how is to try to get them together, unite them to play, and to play well. But
so that was Doc Rivers, the coach of the Clippers, African American himself, saying that he's not going to let somebody that hasn't worked for this his whole life just owns the team to dictate what the outcome of their dreams and what they have a possibility of doing. Here's Doc continued.
Everyone was happy about it. J.J. Redick was just as pissed as Chris Paul, you know, and that's the way it should be. Having said that, our goal is to win the NBA title, and we're not going to let anything stand in the way of that. That's adversity that we didn't want, but we have it. We have to deal with it. We'll deal with it internally, but we're not going to share it with anybody else.
I think he handled that perfectly. He said, basically, he's not going to... J.J. Redick is a white person on the Clippers, and Chris Paul is obviously the black person on the Clippers, saying that both of them are equally as outraged. The Clippers did lose their first game when this controversy hit. They turned their warm-ups inside out so the logo wouldn't show, to show solidarity. A couple teams around the league also did it. But they were never going to not play. The Warriors and other teams had said that if the commissioner, Silver, didn't do anything, that they weren't going to play. They were going to just walk off the court. And my thought on that was, but at that time, fans are already in their seats. They're already paid for their tickets. So you're basically giving the fans nothing, and Sterling would still get the money from the ticket sales, right? I mean, I didn't get that whole thing. You're a basketball player. You love to play basketball. Don't let one guy's racist comments take away from a playoff run. You're in the playoffs. You don't know how many times you're going to be in there. Why not just play? And this obviously has hit the whole nation. Everybody's been talking about it. Even President Obama spoke on it. Here's him.
Ignorant folks want to advertise their ignorance. You don't really have to do anything. You just let them talk. And that's what happened here.
Again, so he's going to have to live with the president calling him an ignorant person. His wife and kids went to the game trying to say that she's not that way. His kids weren't raised that way. And Doc Rivers actually agreed with that. He gave them their blessing. They sat in their suite and they watched the game by themselves. This is Magic Johnson talking about, like I said, he was personally referred to in the argument with his girlfriend. This is what Magic had to say.
There's no place in our society for it. There's no place in our league because we all get along. We all play with different races of people when you're in sports. That's what makes sports so beautiful. And then he's put his own team in a tough situation. So I believe that once Commissioner Silver, I was going to say Stern, Silver, does all his due diligence, get all the information, gather the information. He's got to come down hard. He shouldn't own a team anymore, and he should stand up and say, "I don't want to own a team anymore." Especially when you have African Americans renting his apartments, coming to the games, and playing for him and coaching for him. This is bad for everybody.
So that's Magic, obviously upset. Obviously wanted Donald Sterling to be stripped of his ownership privileges. and he got his wish. As Silver told before, he's done $2.5 million. We'll talk about it a bit more, and then we'll get to actual sports in a bit. This song's for all the Voice fans out there, especially Biffy.
Woke up in New York City, lying on the floor. Just outside of Monty's West.